It was a morning like any other in Pompeii, a morning like so many before it, and like none that would ever follow. The sun rose slowly over the Bay of Naples, its reflection shimmering like molten gold across the still surface of the water, casting long beams of light between white marble columns and the rooftops of terracotta. The sky was impossibly blue, stretched wide and open, unburdened by clouds, seemingly unaware of what lay coiled beneath the earth. The people of Pompeii stirred from sleep with the ease of those who believe tomorrow is guaranteed. Bakers fired their ovens, slaves opened wooden shutters, vendors arranged olives, figs, and amphorae of oil along the forum's edge. In the baths, steam rose as it had for generations, perfumed with lavender and the soft murmurs of gossip. Children chased each other barefoot through mosaicked floors, their laughter echoing off painted walls that bore the stories of gods, warriors, and lovers. Life in Pompeii moved in the rhythm of order and ritual, safely contained within the sprawling shadow of a mountain that no one feared. Mount Vesuvius stood silently beyond the vineyards, its slopes green with grape and grain. It was a presence but not a threat, a backdrop to daily life, revered perhaps, but not respected for its power. No omens had appeared. The augurs had not warned. The gods, if they had stirred, had done so without sound. And yet beneath their feet, the earth was breathing, differently. By the time the birds vanished from the sky, it was already too late. It began with a sound, a deep, unnatural groan from the mountain's core, followed by a shudder in the ground that rippled through the city like a warning no one could decipher. At 9 a.m., Vesuvius exploded, not with a flash of fire or a river of lava, but with a column of pulverized stone and gas, launched high into the stratosphere, tearing a hole in the sky itself. A deafening roar blanketed the city. All at once, the ordinary became undone. A plume darker than any storm cloud rose with furious speed, climbing over 20 miles high, branching at its apex like a pine tree. The exact shape described in a letter that would survive the centuries, written by a boy who watched it unfold from across the bay. Pliny the Younger. He wrote of his uncle, Pliny the Elder, the great naturalist and admiral, who saw the cloud not as a sign of death, but as a call to duty. He ordered his fleet to sail toward the doomed coast, toward a rescue that would never succeed. Back in Pompeii, chaos bloomed. At first, the ash fell lightly like snow, gray, soft, unsettling. But within an hour, it thickened, darkened, hardened. Stone rained down in torrents. Roofs began to collapse under the weight. Streets disappeared beneath layers of white-hot pumice. Light vanished. Day became twilight. And all around, the sound of cracking wood, of screaming, of temples trembling. The citizens of Pompeii, so sure in their civility and structure, now staggered blindly through their city, trying to flee a sky that had turned against them. Some believed it was the wrath of Vulcan, others that Jupiter himself had cast a punishment for sins unnamed. But there was no clarity. There was only ash, and fire, and noise. By midday, the city was buried under several feet of debris. Still, many remained, trapped, hiding, praying. Others fled to the shoreline, calling out for ships that could no longer come. The sea itself had retreated, the tide pulled back unnaturally, as if the earth was inhaling. Pliny the Elder pressed forward, commanding boats toward the coast. He never returned. His lungs, scorched by invisible fire, collapsed as he stood amid falling cinders, trying to reassure the terrified crowds that it was only smoke. But the truth was far worse. What was coming could not be outrun, could not be reasoned with, could not be survived. Around 1 a.m. on August 25th, Vesuvius released its deadliest breath. A pyroclastic surge, a tidal wave of searing gas, ash, and pulverized rock, descended upon Pompeii and neighboring Herculaneum. It moved faster than wind, hotter than flame. It stripped flesh from bone in a blink. It killed not with flames, but with heat so intense it caused brains to boil and skulls to explode. Entire villas were flattened. People caught mid-motion were frozen in place. Some collapsed, clutching their loved ones. Others covered their mouths or eyes as though that would stop what had already come. A family died together beneath a stairwell. A dog chained to its post, perished mid-snarl. A man clutching a purse of coins fell near a doorway he could not escape. Death did not discriminate: rich, poor, child, soldier, slave. All were swallowed together in that final moment of breath and fire. The eruption continued for over 18 hours. The mountain unleashed more than 100,000 times the thermal energy of the Hiroshima bomb. When the sun finally rose again over Campania, it did not shine on a city, it shone on a grave. Pompeii was gone. Gone from maps, gone from memory, gone from history. It was forgotten, left beneath 15 to 20 feet of volcanic rock and ash. Its name faded into whispers. Its people, entombed where they fell, became ghosts no one remembered. Rome endured. Time moved on. Centuries passed, and still Pompeii slept, perfectly preserved by the very force that destroyed it. It wasn't until the 18th century that workers, digging a well, struck something strange: colorful walls, intact rooms, mosaics and frescoes buried under hardened ash. What they had found was not ruins. It was a city paused mid-life, a museum of death. Excavations revealed not just structures and artifacts, but people captured in the exact moment of their dying. The ash had left voids where bodies once were. These voids were filled with plaster, producing casts so hauntingly human, so agonizingly lifelike, that the illusion of time collapsed. A mother shielding her child, a man curled on the floor, a pair of lovers holding hands, their faces twisted, their limbs curled, not idealized sculptures, but real, broken, breathing people caught in their final heartbeat. They were not myth, they were us. And now Pompeii speaks. Its streets echo with the sound of footsteps from the present. Its murals still bleed with color. Its homes, shops, temples, still open to the sky, whisper fragments of life from 2,000 years ago. We see how they lived. We know what they ate. We read the graffiti scratched into their walls, vulgar jokes, declarations of love, calls for revolution. Pompeii is not a story of death. It is a story of humanity, of how delicate the boundary between permanence and impermanence truly is. It reminds us that civilization is not a fortress, but a breath. That beneath the illusion of control, nature waits. And when it moves, it does not ask. It does not warn. Above the city, Vesuvius still rises. Verdant, quiet, watching. It sleeps, for now. Scientists monitor its breath, measuring its silence. But the mountain is not dead. It is patient. In the shadow of Pompeii, we are reminded that all cities, no matter how glorious, stand upon borrowed time. That comfort and routine are no shield against the fury of a living world. The same sun still rises over Naples. The same blue sky still stretches overhead. Tourists walk the ruins with cameras and water bottles, unaware perhaps that they stand not just in history, but in a warning. Because the story of Pompeii is not over. It is happening again and again, in every city built too close to a fault, in every village beneath a volcano, in every nation that believes itself eternal. What was buried in the 79 AD was not just a city, it was the myth of permanence. It was the illusion that we are in control, but beneath our feet the earth remembers, and one day it will speak again. If this story moved you, if the echoes of Pompeii stirred something deep within your spirit, don't just scroll past. Like, subscribe, and share this with others who need to remember that history is not just a list of dates or ruins behind glass. It is alive, buried beneath our feet, whispering warnings through the centuries. Pompeii is more than a tragedy. It is a message written in ash, a lesson etched in silence, a city that died mid-sentence so we might listen. Every fresco, every plaster cast, every crumbling doorway is a voice calling out from 2,000 years ago. Remember us. Learn from us. Do not forget how quickly everything can change. We live in cities that feel eternal, in lives wrapped in routine. But so did they. And like them, we walk unknowingly on borrowed time. So if this story touched you, if you felt the breath of ancient dust stir your heart, join us. Become part of this journey. Help us tell these stories before they fade again. Because the past is not gone. It sleeps beneath the surface, and one day it will rise.